Roku has what you need to make your college home away from home feel more like your own. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TV, or bring a Roku streaming stick to easily access all your favorite free and premium content like iHeartRadio. Stream your favorite playlist with the Roku Vibe Setting Smart Light strips to sync your music to millions of colors and make your dorm feel more like you. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TVs, streaming players, and smart lights. Head to Roku.com or your favorite retailer to deck out your dorm.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Oh, good. Come on! You homer!
What are you trying to insinuate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the 1103. I was wondering why I couldn't find my notes for the 1103.
So I do want to...
Because I didn't have any, and you changed the course of radio history a mere 4.5 hours ago.
Well, this happens every season for us. And it's actually... It's not unlike the vein of... You know, we were talking about Jeremy Chin. Is there any potential cast-offs from these conference title weekend losers that maybe we can peek at and cast our gaze and dreamweave as free agency slowly inches its way towards us? And that's where it hit me last night. It was a moment of rubidity for a 40-year-old child who watched these games yesterday and loves his favorite team. His favorite team year after year after year is not in the mix. And it hit me last night. Should the Vikings... Did they deserve to be in this conversation? As we entered playoff weekend, as we entered conference title game weekend, frankly, let's even bring it back into the divisional. Did the Vikings did the Vikings look the part? Were they ready for this stage and this moment?
You changed the bit. On the Tolstoy, which is much appreciated. Thank you for that. The bit framed up was they didn't belong.
Yeah, did they belong in this playoff mix?
Why are you smiling?
And the answer is no.
No, the answer is yes. They belonged because they earned the right to be there the way the rules are constructed for teams that get to be there.
Right.
So yes, they belonged. I think a fair question is, why didn't they fit in?
Oh my gosh.
It's a party. It's a tournament. They all call it the tournament.
Right.
It's a party. It's the tournament. Why were we of the wallflower variety? Yeah, so we belong.
We hung out by the punch bowl.
Say it.
Technically, we were invited. Yeah,
Get through it. Push through it.
We belong.
Say the Minnesota Vikings belonged in the 2024 postseason.
They did belong in the 2024 postseason. Yes. I overreacted.
Did they fit in?
They did not fit in.
Oh my gosh.
They did not fit in. It was.
Please continue.
It was a costume party. They showed up in street clothes. It was a normal party. They showed up wearing a costume, and that costume ended up being a turkey. And they did indeed. They got invited. They got it in the mail. They RSVP'd.
Ben Johnson saw something in that Rams game that scares him for next year.
I always love that one.
It's not going to stop because he started it.
He did start.
I mean, he didn't poke the bear; he poked me, and I don't know why. He couldn't care less about me, and I couldn't care less about him at the end of the equation. But I just can't get past. Well, you started the Ben Johnson related obsession last week.
I just couldn't believe what he was saying.
It dissipated over the weekend, and then now I'm catching the stray. I'm obsessed with the guy and some of the dumb things he says, wondering, are you that smart, that genius-like, you know exactly what you're doing, and you're setting things up beautifully for that organization? Or are you just trying too hard to win favor of everybody, calling the Bears and the Bears defense a sleeping giant? Now, all of a sudden, I'm looking at this divisional round game, feeling sorry for Dan Miller and Jason Hatch. Yeah, the guy's bugging me, so he's going to catch strays left and right.
So, as I get older, my emotional connection to the team, it wanes at least into the degree of how hard these losses hit me. When my team is no longer in the playoffs, it used to hit me real hard. There may have been tears shed at certain 1998 NFC title games, etc. But now from an emotional maturity standpoint, I think I've advanced. So I'm not sitting in my yard
what you mean.
Burning my game-used Mo Williams jersey. But I'm disappointed and, of course, crushed in some ways that my favorite team is not on this stage, not celebrating.
Right.
We aren't booking. I mean, can you picture Abbott's anxiety this week if we were booking Radio Row and Superdome bits for Super Bowl week down in the Bayou?
I don't have ice skates, do you? I mean, you get up and down Canal Street, you need ice skates.
I always love that
How about
one.
that?
It's like we didn't rent a car or take Uber. Well, no, we rented a Zamboni to get from the Superdome to our hotels.
Yeah, we use sleds and mittens, snowball fights on Bourbon Street. That would actually be an upgrade to Bourbon Street.
Yeah, wearing a Groucho Marx get up, or maybe some like gorilla head or some type of head as you go into Harris Casino.
Some of the things
so hotel security doesn't see you. Hey,
some of the things I've seen being thrown around on Bourbon Street. A snowball would be a significant upgrade. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But did we belong in this mix? So yes, we were invited to the party.
Thank you.
But were we ready? Were we ready? Were we ready to take the microphone, to take the light, to take the stage?
We certainly didn't bring any apps.
I always love that one.
And this sounder is kind of how I felt as I was watching those games yesterday, PA. Yep. It came out of me in a way where it's thinking, okay, it's time to move on.
The cream rose to the top.
I'm thinking J.J. McCarthy season. I'm thinking all this stuff as free agency gets closer.
No, not season, SZN.
SZN, indeed.
It's like, I'll text you occasionally, A-Y-Y-Y-E after something I say or text or whatever.
Yeah.
That's you're not a big LOL guy. I am with texting.
Well, you're an LOL guy. I'm a ha 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 guy.
So am I.
Yeah,
I am too. But the SZN, where'd that come from you out of nowhere?
It's so dumb. I don't know. I saw a hashtag one time, SZN.
It's the bomb.
I assume that means season, and I think J.J. McCarthy SZN is upon us. But as I'm watching these games, it came out of me. I was over it. Just want to watch a cool weekend.
Yep.
Hail to the Commanders. And I'm thinking, wow, this is cool. I'm going to get to hear 2 weeks of Oxon Hill Apartments and Miles Spires and Lucius Tisdale.
Yep.
Back at the
Morgan
station
Wooten,
wagon with Mom.
Napa High School
We're
with Hawkeye Whitney.
Absolutely. ACC Saturdays. You can't beat
Siphoning
it.
gas.
Save the mint for afterwards.
Thank you.
And it was your team. It was your team, and we were going to be able to talk about that. That's taken away.
I wore that 27-year-old Theismann jersey that I sent the picture. Did I send you a picture?
That's a sweet shirt, dude.
I've only worn it 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
It's like I got it, and then I wore it.
How about it still fits you, by the way?
Became voice of the Vikes, and I'm like, I ain't wearing this. I got no reason to wear this. No. But no, I wore it the last couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the nostalgia piece of it, all of those things, and that's what I was kind of focused on. And I'm thinking, if not now, when? is Josh Allen going to get this off his back and go to Arrowhead and just silence them? Fewest turnovers in his career. They hadn't lost a fumble since like October.
Yep.
I'm like, he's not turning the ball over.
Yep.
He's unbelievable. He's freaking Superman. The team is ready to finally beat the Chiefs, and we're going to have potentially a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. And at the worst, well, we have Buffalo and Bills Mafia to root for over the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I'm going in there, and again, completely emotionless. My team's out of the mix. We can put the Sam Darnold talkers on the back burner. And then as I'm watching these games, I'm thinking to myself, we didn't belong, PA. Yes, we were invited to the party.
We didn't fit in.
But we did not fit in.
Okay.
We weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond.
The Rams game, the Lions game and the beginning of the infiltration of an organization by an outgoing offensive coordinator, it was there that day.
Yeah.
Okay? The Lions were, hey, kitty, kitty. They were begging to get beat that day.
They wanted to get beat.
Did Sam miss 5 touchdowns?
He missed 5 touchdowns.
Are there others like Hawkinson, middle of the field, 3rd and long, and there it goes for 30 and overshot that?
After that 17-yard sack and Hawkinson up the seam, he's Randy Moss style, arm open, guaranteed first down and a gain of 25, yes.
So you get that. You get that one. It was gettable.
Yeah.
B-Flow's defense was pretty stingy for a long period of time, right?
17-9 at the end of the third quarter.
Wow, thank you.
Just needed a
context.
A pick six from Van Ginkel style.
Yep, context. Well done. Okay. Well, if they get that, not only do they belong, they probably fit in.
Yeah.
So when they say game of inches.
And I like our team against the Commanders off a bye at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Take my chances.
I take my chances.
Now the defensive coordinator's looking for work. B-Flow. He's looking for a new job. Got to think about that in the sassy vein of Ben Johnson. No, we don't.
No, we don't. No, we Can you picture?
Yeah, I'm all over this thing right now, man.
Flores distracted by Jaguars head coaching opportunity.
Yeah. How come all of B-Flow's calls have a parentheses and a 011 in front of it? Oh, he's calling Shad Khan in the United Arab Emirates? Holy cow, what's happening here?
But as I was watching that game, it goes beyond the Sam Darnold conversation.
I know what you're saying.
That's why the purple purge matters. That's why the spring matters.
Oh, the purge is in play.
And you just...
I was you Saturday, and I sat down for 40 minutes and just started writing purple purge. And of course, it's people are going to hear purge, and they're going to think complete gutting or the movie, and somebody rolling up in a Ben Johnson mask and lying to them and then putting a revolver in their ear and killing them.
Yeah.
Like the movies, The Purge, whatever.
Correct. Yeah, the Purge movies.
Yeah, Purge movies, thank you.
Frank Grillo go crazy. So I'm watching the Commanders and Eagles game, and we're going to pause, I get it, and I could go on for an hour about this. Landon Dickerson can't freaking walk.
Wow.
He can't walk, but Cam Jurgens can't play.
What a great call.
And their offensive lineman rolls in there, played center in college.
We need to take it a step farther. They also had a replacement left guard.
Because Dickerson had to move inside to center.
So 2/5 of the Manasseh Moving Company was of the replacement variety in the biggest game of the year.
He's sitting there. Dickerson on the sideline can barely freaking walk, but he plays because he knows Cam Jurgens has a back issue. Dickerson cannot go any longer. Wow. Cam Jurgens, who wasn't supposed to play,
you're right,
rolls in there with a back injury and mows man down.
Yes.
Even Deron Payne, Deron Payne, don't care.
Yep,
Season's on the line, and Philly's moving company absolutely slaughtered the defensive front of the Washington Commanders. So were we invited to the party?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Did we fit in? Sadly, we weren't even close.
But Cam Jurgens fits into the party, right?
Cam Jurgens fits in the party.
Who's his younger brother?
Well, they're actually not related, but yes.
Oh, they're not?
No, they're not related.
Michael Jurgens and Cam Jurgens are not related?
I'm pretty sure Michael Jurgens grew up in Nebraska.
Well, next year at the party when we bring Michael, he'll talk about his surrogate, Cam, and that domination.
The Fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword grand. The keyword is grand. You might win a grand with the keyword grand at KFAN.com.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Chris Finch, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks, nice enough to join 9 to noon on a weekly basis. They have the Hawks tonight, 7 o'clock Target Center, and Trey Young, Jalen Johnson, two best players for Atlanta, not playing this evening. But we began with football. Chris is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I'm like, 20-some-odd years ago, maybe 30, would you have been so excited that you would have been like climbing those poles on Broad Street?
No.
What do you mean?
As much as I am. Yeah. I mean, I love the Eagles, and they've been my lifelong passion. But I know when to stay away from, a dangerous crowd.
Basketball, Denver. Best overall game of the season, Chris, and a culmination of patience, precision, execution, and more. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I would say so. I think in the last couple of weeks we played a few complete games. Really, I think New York was a complete game. I thought Dallas was a pretty complete game for us. I thought the two Memphis games were almost complete games. We just kind of couldn't close them off. But Denver game was an outstanding start for us. Maintained our focus and our execution throughout. Really good on both sides of the ball. We have a confidence and a comfort level against that team. I think that certainly helps us. We're so familiar with them too. But it was a game that we needed to win, really needed to win, and to do it in that fashion, that, certainly hope it propels us here now coming into the All-Star break.
So I know Oklahoma City's, not on the schedule around the corner or anything, but when you say, we have a certain degree of confidence with which the team plays against Denver, and familiarity probably would have something to do with that. But if one is to believe Oklahoma City is the best team in the Western Conference, do you sense your team has that type of comfortability playing OKC?
Yeah, we've only faced them once so far. I think last year we split with them. They're very similar. They're a better version than they were last year. Because I think all their guys are a little bit more seasoned, and they're just a little bit more fully formed in what they are and who they are. We played there. I thought we did a really good job for 3 quarters of that game, controlling the game. We just had a 7-8 minute period of meltdown on offense where we turned it over at a high level in the third quarter. We were up 12 when that period started, and they're excellent at turning off defense into offense by turning you over at a high level, and that's something that we have to be able to guard against when we play that team, or any team for matter, because we tend to turn it over. But I'm not saying that we don't have a confidence against anybody. We felt when we played those guys that if we just take care of the ball, we win that game. So we are at times our own worst enemy. But those periods of play are less and less right now, which is really encouraging.
Yeah, that and I'm glad you said turnovers. I didn't put this in the stuff I wrote down for you, but now it just triggers a memory from Saturday, and I don't have it in front of me. But your starters, I think, only had 5, 6, or 7 turnovers, maybe 7. And Joker had 7 by himself, and they had at least double the turnovers with their starters that you guys did. I mean, that right there is just tenacity, isn't it?
Yeah, and so much of the game now just comes down to possession battles. It's no different than the NFL. I mean, obviously, the Commanders are going to turn it over 3 times, and the Eagles don't turn it over at all. That's really the difference in the game. Everything else is just kind of add on to that. And in basketball, if you're allowing your opponent to take more shots that the at the rim than you get every single night, whether it be turnovers or offensive rebounds, you're probably not going to win many of those games. And that's, for much of December, we were losing the possession battle on a nightly basis. Our opponents were getting up more shots at the rim than we were. And, we were losing a lot of close games as a result. And it's just kind of basketball mathematics. We had to reverse that trend.
From Saturday, Rudy Gobert was a menacing presence all over the court. But with Rudy, why do you like playing the rookie Dillingham with Gobert so much? What's important about that pairing?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is to try to protect Rob defensively. Rob, they'll often try to pick on him in certain situations, mostly the pick and roll. And Rudy's best attribute defensively is always been an elite pick and roll defender. So it gives him some defensive kind of confidence out there too. And also they have a good connection. I think Rob's one of our better lob passers. He's the guy that can find late plays to Rudy, and it brings out some offensive punch with that little combination. Now, they haven't had a ton of time together, but it's still a threat, and that's what we need. We need that threat.
Coach, when you say we haven't found Rudy enough in certain situations, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think he's open on the lob quite a bit, or he might be open on the late pass when his defender steps up to help. And these are situations that we've got to take advantage of. They're putting two on the ball, whether it be in a help situation or aggressively in pick and roll. And Rudy's rolling free. You got to make the defense pay. It's just something that we haven't consistently been able to exploit for a variety of reasons, whether it's been turnovers, don't trust the play, just double teams, et cetera. So we're getting better at it. It feels like that trust now and that chemistry is there. But we're going to have to do it. And, tonight's going to be a good test because like last time we played these guys right before Christmas, they pretty much, trapped Ant everywhere and dared us to throw the ball to Rudy rolling down the middle of the floor. And, when we were able to do that, we make them pay, and then they got to adjust.
And I would imagine you have to be smart with the passes to Gobert, right? I mean, some fast action bounce passes in the key can confound the big ones at times.
Yeah, that's part of it all too. It's not that we just choose not to throw to Rudy because we don't like him or we don't trust him. It's every situation is a little bit different to be able to deliver the ball. And to your point, some players have always been used to maybe delivering those types of bounce passes in that situation. They have to kind of adjust to throwing the ball in the air or waiting to throw it a little bit later, or so it takes time. We've talked about this before a lot when we first got Rudy, and it's and we've gone through different phases of it as we've seen different types of defenses. And we're just, going to have to keep working on it.
Well, when it comes to the way the routes you guys as coaches, specifically you, the head coach, require the team to play, can it become monotonous? And the reason I ask is because after the Denver domination, Mike Conley, bona fide leader, said, quote, "It's key not becoming bored with the right way to play," end quote. Like what does that mean?
Yeah, it's just another way of saying just keep doing the things that we know work. Don't deviate. Don't just because you maybe have made a couple baskets. It's not time for you to break outside the scheme or the structure or the concepts that are working. Avoid too many isolation situations. I mean, understanding what works and being able to go back to it. I think that's also important. And sometimes lineups are going to change and the flow of the game changes, and there are things that change and you're not going to be able to score doing the same thing every single time down. But being able to go back to the concepts and the style of play that does work, is key as well, because it gets you back into your ability to control the game.
With Anthony Edwards, I love when something gets under his skin and it's not officiating related. All right. And something got under his skin late first half, man, right in front of you, too, when Denver was going to your right. And he picked up Jamal Murray almost full court and just flustered the bleep out of him. So why and when does Edwards decide to play that way? Because he's a demon when he does.
Yeah, we've always preached to him, and that his path to greatness is going to be being amongst one of the best two-way players in the league. He has the ability to guard all the time like that. He does carry a large offensive load, so there is some, I guess, conservation of energy that goes with that on the defensive end. But it's, one of those things that I believe has become more myth than reality in the NBA. And you got to be able to play both ends and be able to impact at both ends. But a lot of times with Ant, it's, if he gets on these marquee matchups, that's when he really shines. And we've been putting him on those guys more and more now to try to kind of get him motivated at that end of the floor.
Jaden McDaniels, holy cow. I mean, we talked about him last week. He sure is seeing it clearly right now. What's eye-opening to you about his game, especially when he takes big guys off the dribble?
Yeah, I mean, what I love about his game is that, he's not just kind of living and dying by his shot making, and he's really kind of trusting and using all parts of his game, whether it be his cutting, his playmaking, his attacking off the catch, his rebounding offensively and defensively. These are all things that, he's always been able to do. I think, maybe over the course of the last several years, he's kind of fallen into this mindset, well, I got to make shots at a high level for me to be the player that I need to be and us to win. And while that might be true, I think there's a lot more that he can do, and we're seeing that. And, we've seen that early on in the first couple of years in his career when he maybe didn't trust his shot so much. I think he trusts his shot a lot more now than he did when he was a younger player. I think it ironically goes in at a lot higher rate when he's doing all these other things. When he's just kind of focusing on his shot and he defaults to being a little bit more one-dimensional, I think that's when, his shot becomes a bit more inconsistent. So he's a complete all-around basketball player. That's what we love about him, and that's the type of basketball he's playing right now.
And back to Anthony for a second, nearly done. With Anthony, are patience and Edwards required sometimes to get things going the way you want? Because, like specifically Saturday, sometimes Julius Randle is the A topic early in games, and I'm not saying Ant's just like standing there, but I mean you could just tell he has to be patient, right?
Yeah. Well, I think what we've seen now, and Julius is one thing we've asked for to be aggressive early. That first unit at times has struggled to score. We've asked Mike to be more aggressive in that unit. We've asked Julius to be more aggressive in that unit. Oftentimes those two guys come out early. They're some of our first subs. So if they're not aggressive in that first 6-minute stretch that they play, then they might, not feel like they get into the game until, deeper into the second quarter. And Ant's traditionally been a slower starter generally throughout his career. So I think, but he's also had big starts for us from time to time, but generally he's been a slower starter.
Hey, the Hawks, you mentioned they're here tonight. The Hawks and Trae Young, Target Center, 7:00. Wolves looking to win 3 in a row. They beat the Timberwolves down there a month ago. Now, the Hawks are down stud forward Jalen Johnson. I think that's big. He's one of the NBA's up-and-coming players. Okongwu is 6'10", and they have Clint Capella coming off the bench these days. What I'm getting at here is, could this be a big one for Rudy tonight?
It's going to have to be a big one for Rudy. They're very active. They're always driving you. They're coming downhill all the time. They're at the rim. They live at the rim. And last time we played these guys, we didn't do a really good job of challenging them at the rim enough. It's not just their bigs, which are very active. both rolling and relocating, but also on the glass. But yeah, their smalls are kind of coming downhill too. So they play with a ton of movement, and they're very hard to guard. If you don't control the ball and you don't control the rim, which two things we're generally pretty good at when we're good, you're going to be in for a long night. So I think it's a huge one for Rudy. It's also a huge one for Rudy because he needs to start stacking some performances on top of each other like we had the other night. We're not going to become the team we know we can be without him playing at that level.
Yes, sir. And when I wrote this next one about Trae Young, I'm conceding it may be the dumbest thing you hear all day, but I'm going to ask it anyway because Trae's three-point game is really off right now, specifically the last three. All right, and he missed some time about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and maybe he's getting himself back, but his three-point game's off. Do you let him fire some up to see if he's still cold? Because he's just chucking them up from all over the place and mostly to no avail.
Yeah, well, fortunately for us, he's out tonight I think, with a shoulder injury or something, or hamstring injury, I believe. So he's been listed out. So we won't have to make that decision. I'm never comfortable with Trae, just when, I don't look at his percentages because I know he's such a dangerous shooter. He is having an off year, but I think a lot of that is more style of play related. He's done an incredible job. I think, just kind of getting his teammates involved. His super skill has always been passing. He can make shots from all over the floor. He always seems to make the ones that matter, like that hurt you the most at the end of the game. But, they've done a really good job of constructing a roster around him that, not only protects him defensively where he is, the weakest, but also complements him so well offensively. And they got a lot of big guys, athletic, interchangeable wings, and they all play a fast and fun style that, really helps, maximize Trae as a passer.
Yep. Like I said, Dyson Daniels, he's shooting 26% on threes this month. He's hit 3 of his last 13. He's super cold of late. So you got to D up against Dyson Daniels tonight. Maybe the new Trae Young in tonight's game. I didn't know he was out. He's been playing of late. Lastly, then you guys are at Phoenix Wednesday, then Utah Thursday. All winnable if they don't become bored with playing the right way, correct?
100%. Couldn't have said it more. It's the theme for the week.
Thank you very much. We will chat next week, which will be up to the Super Bowl. Best of luck against Trae Young, Dyson Daniels tonight. And I'll see you soon, all right?
All right, thanks, PA. Take care.
As Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch with PA, a weekly guest. Always big thanks not only to Second Harvest Heartland, but prize picks as well. Final segment, 9 to noon next on the...
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
9 to noon.
Might very well be
Loser proof for the Wolves this evening. Minus 10.5 at home against Atlanta without Trae Young and/or Jalen Johnson. And good morning.
Good morning. It should be loser proof. Now, this team and its ability to bounce back from emotional. The Nuggets, frankly, I know there was the 4-1 bit a couple of years ago. But really, whether it's regular season contests and that 7-gamer last year, the Wolves have kind of had the Nuggets number.
Yep.
But all that said, maybe their most complete win of the season. Now bounce back and just thrash the Hawks. That's it. That's it. Just thrash the Hawks. We've seen them a couple of times where they messed around. Didn't they mess around with Atlanta and potentially even lose that game a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a month and change ago. Trae had a big number. Jalen Johnson had a big number. Naz Reid had a big number. If you think he's going to be the leading scorer for the Timberwolves tonight, plus 2,900.
Yeah, but still, even with Jalen Johnson, I'm glad you mentioned him because he's a name to watch. And Trae Young can still get around the court with ease when he wants to. That's not a formidable. I mean, Rudy needs to dominate the Clint Capellas and the Okwongwus of the world with absolutely no problem whatsoever. Though, I mean, the way that Anthony with his 34, but it was the 9 assists that meant the most to me from Ant's game the other night. Passes Cat, all-time 3-point leader, had 3, I think, in that game. But how about Julius playing one of his nicest games of the season with the 7 dimes? How about Rudy holding on to the ball? And in fact, he had a bunch of steals in that game. Again, take Saturday. Let's move forward with that, build off of that. I know the head coach has probably preached that a little bit over the last couple of days. Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. This should be a loser-proof game. Just beat on the Hawks at home and move forward.
By the way, at some noteworthy sites worldwide, the Kansas City Chiefs are now a 2-point favorite in the Super Bowl.
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
The Okongwu bit you're mentioning for Atlanta.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. Splits time with Capella.
6'10" guy. He can be a menacing presence. Unlike your guy, Amen Thompson, for the Houston Rockets. The reason he was named Amen is because when you think about playing him, you better start praying a week early.
Wrap on the show.
Good stuff.
The game is over.
All right, I wrote this during the break. Don't judge me.
Here they come.
Kansas City on a historical roll, even over in Philly. They're greasing the light pole. As a Vikes fan, it saddens my soul. I mean, we're at the party, but we're manning the punch bowl. I leave some room for some whiskey in that cup. Was there a memo we were supposed to dress up? Those other guys brought their own. They're having a case race, and I got to admit, I feel out of place. Because our team, frankly, we're kind of JV. The big kids play Friday night. We play Saturday at 3. You can say, son, be patient. It's not time. Don't be focused on the summit. Be focused on the climb. That's fine, but I'm not that young. I'd like to know how long it'll take to rise another rung. Just give me a week, and I'll certainly be better then, because it'll be closer to McCarthy, SZN.
That's Big Daddy Khan, ladies and gentlemen. He's blowing up.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.